WEST, the Western Regional Storage Trust, a distributed retrospective print repository program in the Western United States. Module 2, Answering a Call for Holdings. The purpose of this module is to describe the general approach used in WEST for responding to a call for holdings, an important part of the process for building a print journal archive. We will look at when an archive builder is likely to make requests from member libraries, the time frame for building an archive, what a request will look like, possible responses from member libraries, and finally, how to send materials to an archive builder. WEST member libraries have different roles in the development of distributed print archives. Some institutions agree to hold a journal back file in place for a period of time on behalf of the trust. These institutions are known as archive holders. Archive holders typically retain lower risk titles. Some locations, typically high-density storage facilities, agree to actively consolidate and validate holdings from multiple contributors. These locations are known as archive builders. Archive builders typically handle higher risk titles, and many members are called upon to contribute holdings to complete an archive. WEST libraries receive requests for holdings from archive builders during each archiving cycle. There are currently more than 100 members in WEST, as many as 20 archive holders and 6 archive builders. With such a large partnership, it is useful to outline a general and orderly approach to moving materials each year between member libraries and archive builders. The titles that an archive builder works on are pre-selected each year by the WEST Operation and Collections Council through a collection analysis process. In addition to being titles that are at a high risk of being lost to the scholarly community if they were not archived, the titles assigned to an archive builder are the ones for which the archive builder already has a deep backfile. The goal of the trust is to complete each journal run within a 1-year time period, after which only small gaps or problematic conditions may remain. It is through this annual consolidation process that WEST is able to preserve the scholarly record in 1 year and make it possible for many partners to make local collections management decisions about those journals in subsequent years. For the purpose of WEST, a backfile consists of the current and previous titles of a journal from Volume 1 up through the year 2005. It is important to remember that it is very rare for an individual institution to hold a complete backfile of a journal, so collaboration is essential among WEST partners. What is a call for holdings? A call for holdings is simply a request by a builder to another WEST member to help fill gaps in its backfile by supplying the needed volumes to the archive builder. Builders identify holdings by looking at reports provided by the WEST project team. This is an example of the type of list sent to archive builders. It includes the journal families assigned to the archive builder, a print holding statement that shows the builder's own holdings, and the holdings of other WEST member libraries. An archive builder may request holdings from any number of institutions. It will all depend on what is needed to make a full and complete backfile of the journal family. The builder may request the same holdings from multiple institutions if it anticipates problems in contributions or in the representation of physical holdings relative to bibliographic records. A request for holdings will typically contain a list of specific titles and volumes needed from a WEST member library. The decision to contribute to the WEST archive is always a local one. A member library may respond by contributing the requested volumes, or it may choose not to contribute them. In either case, the member is asked to communicate its decision as early as possible, so the builder can make plans for receipt of materials or alternate plans with other member libraries. The strength of the trust resides on members' ability and willingness to contribute holdings in a timely way. When a library joins the trust, it agrees to make its best effort to contribute volumes when called upon. If an archive builder senses that holdings may not be contributed during the first call for holdings, or may not be contributed in time to complete the annual cycle, it may choose to request the same holdings from more than one WEST member. How does a call for holdings work? If a member library receives a request for holdings from an archive builder, this means that the library has been identified as holding the needed volumes. Builders identify holdings by looking at reports provided by the West project team and additional searches done by the archive builder in individual library catalogs and union catalogs such as OCLC. The call for holdings is orchestrated throughout the year such that the archive builder have a continuous supply of materials coming in and contributors have sufficient time to work through local protocols for deaccessioning and shipping materials to the builder. The first request for holdings is typically made in the summer. It is important to note that builders make this request simply based on gaps and holdings reported in bibliographic statements. Builders will attempt to coordinate their requests such that member libraries receive them all in the same general time frame in the summer. Member libraries respond to this first call for holdings in the summer or early fall. While member libraries are shipping materials to the archive builder, the builders are actively consolidating and validating physical holdings, including local holdings, and incorporating incoming shipments as they arrive. A second request for holdings is made in the fall to fill remaining gaps and remedy condition problems found during physical validation. Once a builder receives and validates holdings from its second call, the archives are disclosed to OCLC and the Print Archives Preservation Registry. The archive cycle concludes in the spring. Any remaining gaps and condition problems are reported in an archive builder's final disclosure. At this point, the archive is considered reasonably complete and the builder is able to move on to a new set of titles in its next year. What are the possible responses to a call for holdings? If the member library has the needed volumes and agrees to contribute them, the library contacts the builder and answers the call for holdings by informing the builder that the needed volumes will be provided. After arrangements have been made between the two organizations, the volumes are physically removed from the shelves, deaccessioned from the local collection, and shipped to the builder. Contributing libraries typically pay the cost of shipping. If a record of transaction is needed, a deed of gift can be prepared and accompany the materials. Contributing libraries are encouraged to use the age-old gifts and exchange process between libraries to make contributions. A standard deed of gift form can be found on the West Wiki, and it can be modified to meet the needs of the contributing and receiving libraries. When the archive builder receives the volumes, they will be validated and added to the library's collection in the West Archive to help make a complete backfile. As is true for the entire West Archive, the archive volumes will be available to all West members upon request. Any remaining volumes still held by the contributing library may be deaccessioned and the space reallocated for other purposes as needed by the library. To recap, the call for holdings is an organized process by which multiple West Archive builders request and receive volumes from West members. The call for holdings occurs on an annual cycle, and the best efforts are made to consolidate and fill gaps within that time frame. Archive builders make 2 requests each year. The first call for holdings goes out in the summer, and the second in the fall. A West member may respond to a call for holdings by either agreeing to supply the holdings or declining to supply them. West members are encouraged to respond positively to the first call for holdings to keep costs low for the entire partnership. Contributing libraries make arrangements with the West Archive builder to ship the materials to the builder. Contributing libraries generally absorb the cost of shipping. Members are encouraged to use the gifts and exchange process as needed to transfer the materials. It is through this type of cooperation between archive builders and the greater West membership that the scholarly record can be preserved and be accessible for years to come.